British Columbia is intensifying its approach to mental health and addiction care by extending involuntary treatment under the Mental Health Act. Premier David Eby announced plans to open secure facilities in Surrey and Maple Ridge, aiming to provide care for individuals with severe addictions, mental health issues, and brain injuries. However, this move has sparked controversy, with critics arguing that the province is repeating past mistakes. Alexandra Keefer from Canadian Affairs reports.
A lot of folks trace the issue of BC's mental health and addiction crisis back to the deinstitutionalization of mental health care, and particularly the closure of Riverview Hospital. But there are some misconceptions about that I will get into. Basically, back in the 90s and early 2000s, BC closed down Riverview Hospital in Coquitlam. It was one of the last of its kind. It was a massive psychiatric hospital that once held nearly 5,000 people. The closure and the broader deinstitutionalization movement in the country was meant to address reported abuses and take people out of isolating institutions in favor of more humane, community-based services. So that was the promise and the plan, but experts and many non-experts say those services never really materialized. Um, I spoke to Dr. Julian Summers at Simon Fraser University, who actually started his clinical career at Riverview. He told me BC never followed through on this vision. There was no sustained commitment to it, no real plan, and over time, things fell apart. I also spoke with Marina Morrow, a professor at York University who tracked the deinstitutionalization process in BC. She debunked the myth that people went straight from Riverview to Vancouver's downtown east side. However, she did confirm that some may have ended up there eventually over time because the places that they were sent often were not equipped to handle complex psychiatric needs, and the system failed a lot of people. I also spoke to Laura Johnston from Health Justice, which focuses on coercive health law. And she told me that even though Riverview closed, BC is institutionalizing more people today than they did when Riverview was open. Between 2008 and 2018, involuntary hospitalizations in BC jumped nearly 66%, and they're still rising today. And just last year, BC Premier David Eby pledged to expand involuntary care. Johnston told me that this is continuing a flawed approach instead of investing in voluntary care, which includes things like therapy, counseling, and primary care. So the bottom line is BC closed Riverview without building what it promised. And now, instead of moving forward, the province seems to be shifting towards a reinstitutionalization. And experts told me that this can actually be more harmful. Summers from Simon Fraser University, he said long-term institutionalization can actually make people worse. It cuts them off from community. It damages their sense of autonomy. And it can lead to what's called institutionalization syndrome. So they're just unable to re-enter community and society. He also said that, BC needs to invest in real community-based care, not just group housing, but housing in recovery communities with strong supports and social connections, housing, proper nutrition, education, employment. He says these things are more important than medical care alone. He also pointed to Alberta's recovery-oriented communities as a good model. So these are live-in centers where people are getting therapeutic support, job training, and stability for up to a year.